Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Cybergamer Autumn here for the first match of the night. It's going to be SYF Gaming taking on Sudden Burst Gaming, and I'm going to be joined by the one and only Elfish Guy.
Good evening, Place, and yeah, we've got a good game coming up tonight. These two teams fairly evenly matched, number 2 and 3 on the Cybergamer ladder, so should be close.
It'll be interesting, and the bans are coming out pretty quick right here. Gragas, Vi, and Jinx all banned out there by SYF Gaming. Syndra and Elise banned out by Sudden Burst Gaming. Kassadin going to be the last ban there, and these are some interesting teams right here. We saw in the last weekend of Go For LOL, which was a qualifier as well, some pretty interesting matchups from these guys. Sudden Burst Gaming knocked out your Social Chuffer, and they were a favorite.
Yeah, which is actually quite interesting because, you know, we thought your Social Chuffer would be one of the two top teams in that Go For LOL. And also, interestingly enough, SYF and Sudden Burst Gaming were both knocked out in the quarterfinals, so in the same round, by two different teams, obviously, but, you know, they were pretty close.
It definitely was an interesting one. And these guys are ranked number 2nd and 3rd on the ladder here as well in CG Autumn. So Sudden Burst Gaming in 2nd place, SYF in 3rd. This is going to be a close matchup. And we can see Ziggs, the first lock in there for SYF Gaming. And man, that's such a powerhouse in the mid lane.
Yeah, not a surprise that he's going to be nerfed by Riot in the next patch. I believe the Minefield is going to be increased in cooldown so that he can't spam it out once he's got full cooldown reduction. So that's going to be a nice little nerf to him, but you know, he's still strong on this patch, so definitely a worthy first pick for SYF.
Yes, and the next two picks coming out of Sudden Burst Gaming, going to be Thresh and Kha'Zix there. And Kha'Zix as well, probably going to be receiving a nerf in the next patch, but currently still very strong.
Yeah, actually, I believe Thresh is also receiving a nerf. So all of these, you know, first pick kind of champions are all going to be nerfed a little bit, which is going to be interesting because we'll see how that really impacts the meta.
Well, it'll be interesting indeed, but honestly right here, Thresh, such a strong pick as always, and in that bottom lane, going to be a powerhouse. Looks like there could be a Shyvana lock in here, so honestly across the board, no really standout picks, but this could be the Sivir pick, something I was kind of thinking about before the match, and I reckon it's going to be a strong one here if SYF Gaming decide to lock it in.
Yeah, both of these teams looking for fairly standard team comps so far. I guess both of them are fairly comfortable with it because this kind of meta has been around for a couple of months now, so nothing too crazy coming out just yet.
Well, we'll see. Sudden Burst Gaming might suddenly pick up something a bit crazier right here. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the Kha'Zix and the Thresh pickups don't particularly give away what your team comp is aiming to do here. Kha'Zix may be looking for some kind of assassination poke comp. We'll see. I mean, a lot of options here available. They could pick up their mid laner if they wanted.
Yeah, the Thresh and the Kha'Zix really lend themselves a little bit towards a pick comp because, you know, Kha'Zix with his isolation really is very useful with the death sentence as well. So, you know, if you hit someone with that death sentence, Kha'Zix can jump in and pretty much assassinate them straight up.
Well, we'll see. It looks like they might be locking in that Draven. And man, have we seen some sick Draven play out of some of the Oceanic AD carries right here. And Sudden Burst Gaming picking that one up as well. Would be interesting to see how Tuka goes on that.
Yeah, that's going to be a very aggressive bot lane coming out from Sudden Burst Gaming. Obviously, they're going to be up against the Sivir, which is going to be a little bit difficult for Thresh to hit those death sentences. But if he does manage to get one off, there's going to be a lot of damage coming out from that Sudden Burst Gaming bot lane.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well, as you said, the Sivir spell shield blocking out the hooks from Thresh lends itself to, you know, the AD carry countering the support. It's not something we usually see. Looks like SYF Turkey going to be going with Annie, though, for the support there. So, man, that's a lot of damage already in the SYF Gaming bot lane.
Yeah, that is another aggressive bot lane coming out from SYF, and really whichever one of these bot lanes manages to get an advantage early is really going to snowball quite hard, especially after level 6 when both of these supports really hit their you know, power spike.
Yes. And it'll be an interesting one as well here, because the power spikes coming out for the rest of SYF Gaming's lineup, it's going to be strong as well. You've got Ziggs, level 6, picking up his Pseudo Global Ultimate as well. Huge threat there when he comes into gank lanes. And of course, Pempty with that Dragon's Descent is scary as well. Looks like it's going to be an Olaf jungle though, for SYF Gaming.
Yeah, so SYF picking up a very strong team fight composition here. Really focused around Annie's stun. You know, if she can get that off on probably on Kha'Zix and maybe on Draven as well, then Sunburst Gaming are going to be in quite a bit of trouble because they don't have a lot of peel just yet.
Well, talk about peel. I mean, Sudden Burst, they've got a fair bit here. They've got Mundo, they've got the Thresh here, and AD carry going to be the last, the mid lane are going to be the last pick here, most likely. Could be a jungle as well if they use a mid lane Kha'Zix, we'll have to see. Could be the Lux, they're hovering that one. And this is something we haven't seen in a while, Elfish.
Yeah, that's quite interesting actually, and it'll be kind of a decent pickup here actually against SYF because they don't have the longest ranges, and obviously if Lux can get a snare off, then she's able to really burst someone down from full to zero if she's got that ultimate up from quite a long range. So, you know, she's going to have that range threat, whereas SYF are not really going to have that.
So that's kind of an interesting one there. Obviously, Lux is going to have to do well to pull stuff like that off in the laning phase, especially. He's going to be up against Ziggs. How does this matchup really play itself out?
Well, it's really going to be battle of the poke. Whoever can really hit their skill shots a bit better is going to have the advantage in this lane. But I would probably actually give it to Lux because she has got that backup of the Kha'Zix in the jungle. If she can hit her snare and Kha'Zix can jump in behind Ziggs, they'll really be able to annihilate him pretty much before he's able to get away. Whereas if Ziggs manages to catch Lux out, he doesn't have quite as much CC as Lux, you would say, and he also, you know, has a little bit more difficult time because she does have a shield as well.
So pretty strong lineups here for both of these teams, SYF Gaming and Sudden Burst Gaming. And I do like this pick as well from SYF. The Olaf pick in the jungle was picked after they saw the Draven as well. And so picking an Olaf against a low mobility AD carry, that's got to be really strong, Elfish.
Yeah, especially considering, yeah, as you said, Draven doesn't have a lot of mobility, and really his only escape, he relies on the stand aside, which is not going to affect Mundo Olaf rather at all once he's got that ultimate on. So Olaf is really just going to charge at him, and it's really going to be up to Thresh's ult to peel Olaf off Draven.
So, going into this one, what are we expecting here? Obviously, top teams here at CG Autumn, currently in second and third behind 4Not Gaming, formerly Dolph's Bun Bun. So, winner of this one, going to be picking themselves up a bunch of points leading into the finals on the 22nd of February. But in this match, what are we expecting?
Well, I have to give this one to Sudden Burst Gaming. They have been showing that they've been playing really well recently. And despite SYF looking also very strong, you know, Sudden Burst took out Your Soul Shall Chopper. So that's really something that shows me how strong their team is right now. So I feel like they've got the steamroll kind of going on at the moment. So I expect them to do quite well.
Yeah, and obviously your Soul Shot Chuffer were a huge favourite going into GoFloor last weekend, and they ended up getting knocked out by NV, who ended up taking the whole tournament and qualifying into the Autumn Regionals. So, you know, Sudden Burst Gaming definitely proving to be a pretty strong team. But we'll have to wait and see how this one goes down. 1:30 until we're into the loading screen. And let's take a look at this bottom lane as well, because I think it's interesting. We've got the Sivir and the Annie taking on the Draven and the Thresh.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, both supports have taken the Ignite. I would have expected Annie to pick up maybe an Exhauster just to counter the Kha'Zix out in a little bit in the later game. But, you know, Annie is an aggressive support, so she definitely can make use of that Ignite. And if she does manage to get some sort of ultimate or stun off onto Draven, they're going to be pretty much able to full to zero Draven with that one, especially considering they have got the Igniter there as well.
Yeah, and that's a really scary thought for Draven, being 100 to 0'd like that. Obviously, he's going to be a huge damage output for his team right here. And, you know, we usually talk about the bottom lane, mid lane synergy, and that's really how the meta has started to unfold here. A lot of junglers forcing pressure into the bottom lane because the top lane not really as important. But what happens to Draven here if he finds himself in a situation where he's not as relevant as he'd like to be?
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of difficulty, but as we're talking about, if Annie can get that Tibbers down, it's also going to make it quite a lot more difficult for him to take the Thresh Lantern to safety, because he's going to have the Tibbers on top of the Lantern that he has to worry about. So right-clicking that Lantern is going to be a little bit difficult. But really what Draven needs to do is he kind of needs to stand back a little bit and let Olaf and Shyvana come to him and try and keep kind of safe behind Thresh. And if he can do that, he will be able to do a fair bit of damage and might actually be able to duel out Shyvana or Olaf alone with the help of Thresh.
Alright, so we'll have to wait and see if that one is the case. Obviously, both of these junglers fairly aggressive here as well. Kha'Zix very aggressive, and what are you expecting for his evolution path here as well? We've seen a mixture of either the Q evolution, the Taste Their Fear, or the E, his leap.
Well, it really depends on how he's going in the jungle. If he does decide to evolve that leap, it's going to make it a little bit easier to catch people out, obviously because it does give him the extra range there. But, you know, if he does want to go for a little bit more damage, he has got quite a few squishy targets around here. He's got the Ziggs and the Sivir and also the Annie to look at if they do get a little bit of a snowball going down in the bot lane, because he's going to have a little bit of a CC help there from Thresh, so the E is not going to be quite as important, the leap that is, not going to be quite as important for him.
Well, We'll see if that one's the case as well. Obviously, having squishy targets, pretty good there when you're a Kha'Zix. You can get those resets, and we've seen some crazy reset play as well from a lot of Kha'Zix lately. Obviously, the nerfs that we're expecting for him in patch 4.2 gonna probably stop him from doing a lot of that play, but for now, he is still very strong here, and I really like the way Kha'Zix can work with the Thresh as well, because you can jump in, get your assassination, and then ride the Lantern right back out of there. So the team comp coming out of Sudden Burst Gaming definitely has a lot of options available to him. That's what we'd like to see here.
Yeah, it is really strong comp because, you know, when you do have a Mundo as your front line, he's really probably the king of the tanks at the moment. Shyvana on the SYF side is not going to be quite as tanky you would expect. She's going to go for maybe a Blade of the Ruined King or something like that just to counter the Mundo, which means she's not going to be, as I said, not going to be quite as tanky, and may get taken out a little bit easier by Draven because of that.
Well, that one's going to be interesting as well. We are on to the Rift here for CG Autumn. SYF Gaming taking on Sudden Burst Gaming. And no pings put down just yet. Where are these guys going to be going? I would expect a defensive start, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, over the Go for LoL on the weekend, we did see quite a lot of teams looking to invade the bot side jungle. And it looks like both these teams kind of heading around there. And I believe they're probably going to run into each other. It looks like Thresh is going to be heading in here first. And that's really what you want to be doing. But they need to be careful of Annie stunning up their entire team.
Yeah, and this is something we have seen before, obviously. Red team, if they face check this one into an Annie stun, she's already built that one up with the Incinerate, which is a cone stun as well, so it can hit lots of people. That will be interesting. No one's been spotted out just yet, but I think the move is going to come out of here from Red. Oh, he misses the hook. Oh, this is so dangerous. They don't know what they're running into. So much damage comes down straight away. Patchface in big trouble, forced to flash away, and Score's being caught out. Brilliant undertows out of Jono. He's actually going to chase onto Tuka. Score tried to bait him away, but Jono's not phased at all. They're going to pick up a double kill in the early game. Brilliant moves by SYF, and so unlucky for Sudden Burst Gaming.
Yeah, that was a very disappointing for Sudden Burst Gaming. They thought they were safe walking into that bush because obviously the Thresh hook did miss, but unfortunately they're walking into the entire SYF team. So, you know, 2 kills there going over to SYF, 1 to the top laner and 1 to the jungler. So that's going to be quite interesting to see. It looks like probably to me now, Olaf is going to look to go up to the top lane and maybe snowball Shyvana off the top of that, especially considering Mundo's flash is also down.
Oh man, I just would have loved to hear the voice comms through Sudden Burst Gaming right there as they face check that. They were like, oh, no one's there, the hook didn't hit anything, and suddenly any stun to the face gonna suck. Regardless though, Kha'Zix Noob is gonna be able to pick up his blue buff there, no problems at all. Jono gonna be able to pick up his red buff as well.
Yeah, I would expect there will be a lot of screaming going on during that level 1 from both teams actually.
Oh, absolutely.
But now we are heading into the lane phase and we're going to see how this really affects the game. I don't believe it's going to really play too much of an impact into the bot lane. Obviously only a couple of assists coming onto both these SYF bot laners. They've only really picked up a couple of extra pots off that.
Well, they might be able to use those extra pots for some extra trading right here, and you can see Turkey being very aggressive in his positioning, maintaining that bush control in the bottom lane, holding onto that stun as well. Will he use it is the question.
And this is not usually something that you see from an Annie versus a Thresh, because Thresh generally gets that early auto attack damage advantage over an Annie. It's just their spells.
Oh, Tuka's in trouble though. He's gone way too aggressive here. Gonna eat a stun to the face and lots of damage from Ant Soldier gonna pick him up. Will Turkey survive though? He gets flayed back. Does get taken out and Score grabs that kill. But Ant Soldier now turning it around, looking for the double. Nice boomerang lands and does the big chunk of damage. Flash forced. Oh, the follow-up gonna be strong there from Score. Flays him back off and Score will survive.
Yeah, lucky actually for Sudden Burst there to survive. Obviously, they did look to go aggressive because they hit level 2 first, which is generally speaking what you want to be doing, but they did just get poked down a little bit too much before the game, before the fight. So that's really why they lost out there. And obviously, Draven didn't really have his summoners up because of that level 1 as well. So that was an issue there for them. But, you know, 1 for 1, nothing too major just coming out yet.
And that's kind of the ideal situation as well, obviously. You force the summoners to be used in the level 1 fight, and then you capitalize it later on. I mean, the 2 kills in the early game were huge there for SYF Gaming, but picking up those summoner spells also lead to a favorable trade in the bottom lane. But we're now 3 minutes in and already 4 kills on the board. Well, we're in the 4 minutes, so it's actually 4 kills per minute, which is pretty aggressive. We haven't seen any action in the mid lane yet.
Yeah, no, nothing really going out just yet. Both these mid laners are probably going to be looking to hit 6 so that they can use their full burst potential. And obviously both of them have got both their summoners up as well. So that means two barriers, and really when you have a barrier up on a mid laner, generally speaking, you're not going to be taking them out without jungler help.
Yeah, and both of them obviously picking up that barrier, so that's kind of becoming a more common practice here as well. But look at the trading in the top lane. Joska, he's doing work.
Yeah, well, as we did see, he got that kill and assist advantage. Obviously, it hasn't really given him too much of an advantage. He's got the pots, but other than that, he doesn't have any other kind of stats over Mundo. But obviously, those pots really helping to keep him at the full health and really ready to fight.
Oh man, that hook just gonna fall short there, misses Turkey. Good follow-up from Ant Soldier anyway, gets a bit of damage down to score. You can see in the top lane though, Olaf, or Jono, has been camping there for a while.
Yeah, and he's just waiting for that wave to push up so that he can get enough room to take out the Mundo, because obviously it's going to take quite a few hits, even though Patchface is really only on half HP. Here we go!
Oh, there they go. Patchface going to take a lot of damage. Ignite is down, and that's surely going to be a kill. Joska picks it up, and that takes his lead even further out. 2-0 and 1 now the score.
Yeah, so patience really paying its dividends there for Jono and Joska up in the top lane, picking up the kill, and they're going to look aggressively onto this turret. I don't think they're going to be able to get it because Nujab's coming up to the top lane, and looks like they're just going to leave it.
Oh, the big trade in the bottom lane. Incinerate gets a double stun. Tuka putting down lots of damage there with those axes. Turkey needs to be a little bit careful, and Ant Soldier doing his best to trade as well. Both of these guys going to get out. Oh no, he got way too close and Tuka gets taken out. Ant Soldier turning that one around nicely. A good flash from Turkey as well to make sure that they secured it.
Yeah, really, there needs to be some jungler pressure coming down here now from Sunburst Gaming. They do have the advantage of the Lantern, so they can bring someone in. Most likely going to be Kha'Zix here, but also Lux could come down and give them a little bit of help. So there needs to be something different. Something needs to change here for the bot lane for Sunburst Gaming. Otherwise, they're really going to lose this, and Civ is going to really snowball this game out of control for SYF.
And that's, you know, not what you want to have happen. That snowball is very scary there for Draven because he wants to be winning this early game. We'll see what New Jabez does though. What are we expecting out of him in the jungle?
Yeah, well, look, I think he really is at the moment only farming. Haven't seen him gank just yet, so he needs to head down to the bot lane and take advantage of Thresh's Dark passive to get him in range. Obviously, he needs to probably do that before level 6, otherwise he's going to get insta-gibbed by Annie pretty much on his own. So it's going to be really a matter of minutes now before the bot lane is going to be impossible for Nujabes to gank.
Well, that's kind of a scary thought for him as well. Obviously, he hasn't had too much of an impact yet on this early game. But then again, you know, Jono as well, only really having that one successful gank in the top lane. But a pretty big lead already coming out here for SYF Gaming, rather. 10,000 gold to about 9,000. But the 5-to-1 advantage, that's got to be scary to look at.
Yeah, and that's really going to be playing in the back of Sunburst Gaming's mind. They're going to be thinking about that and thinking, oh, we're behind, we need to do something. But really, at the moment, they just need to sort of regroup and farm up a little bit because they do have that late game threat that is Kha'Zix and Mundo. Both those champions are very, very strong in the late game. And not to say that any of SYF's champions are particularly weak in the late game. I just feel like Sunburst Gaming may be able to outscale this a little bit better if they can get a couple of resets off for Nujabes.
And so how do the mid laners fit into that kind of picture as well? Because obviously Ziggs has some huge wave clear, but how does he scale into the late game comparing to that Lux?
Yeah, well, that's going to be the interesting thing because Lux really has the CC advantage as we spoke about in Champ Select. And I feel like she has more of a pick potential than Ziggs. Ziggs is really more about kind of area control and siege. Even though Lux does that quite well too, she just has more of an assassination kind of hit as well.
Ooh, nice little bait there from Ant Soldier, or rather Score. Uses the auto attack and kind of fake he's out that he's going to use his hook. And then Ant Soldier managed to kind of waste his spell shield there, but nothing really comes of it nonetheless. Nujabes going to be picking up his red buff. Man, that's a hard name to say. How are we pronouncing this one?
I think it's Nujabes. It could be New Harbors or something like that. Just depends on where he comes from. But I'm going to go with Nujabes for the moment.
He'll always be a Kha'Zix to me. Anyway, Turkey in this bottom lane. He's holding onto that stun, and that is so much pressure as well. As an Annie, you just hold into that stun while you're in the lead, and you've got to be scared of Captain Tibbers dropping down.
Yeah, so Turkey actually only a couple of CS off hitting level 6 right now. So that's something that we need to watch out for in the bot lane. Obviously, as you said, he's got that stun. I believe he just used it on the dragon, but he'll have it up in another moment. And that's going to be a really scary time for Sunburst Gaming.
Yeah, and the Dragon gives him level 6 as well, so this one's going to be interesting. Kha'Zix's making his way around. Oh, Turkey drops in Tibbers, and that's going to be a very quick kill. No, he takes a Lantern out into the Ignite that finishes it off. Turkey picks up the kill. Tuka in a bad position right now, gets destroyed against that wall. Double kill for Turkey. They're going to chase it on for score as well. Another undertow hits, and that's perfect for him. There's the bombs over the wall, and Ant Soldier picks him up a kill. Man, 3 deaths already, and another one in the top lane. Joska, he's slowed under the tower, though. That's a scary thought for him. Can Patchface pick this one up? He's got the sadism pop going off there, healing him up. Not going to find a kill, though. It's now 8-1, though, in the favor of SYF.
Yeah, so that's what I was speaking about there. With Kha'Zix needs to be careful once Annie hits 6 because he doesn't build any tanky kind of stats. He's one of those junglers that if he gets caught out, he's just going to get absolutely obliterated. And that's what happened there, and that's really what Sudden Burst Gaming need to watch out for, especially in these team fights. They need to keep Nujabes really kind of safe so that he can get those resets and do a lot of annihilation. But at the moment, he's not really being able to do that because Annie has really got his number.
Yeah, and it looked like a really kind of sketchy situation for Sunburst Gaming. They weren't particularly on the same page if they wanted to engage or not, and I feel Nujabes just kind of got caught out because of that. Anyway, Penty going to be picking up his blue buff here, and he's going to need it. Pretty low on mana. Going to help him defend out against this Lux, and he's currently ahead in CS by a little bit, so it's been a pretty quiet mid lane, though, overall.
Yeah, ahead on CS and also assists, so he's actually quite a bit richer than Lux at the moment. He's got about 600 more gold, and that's really showing because he's picked up that needlessly large rod, whereas Lux really has only got parts for her Athene's Unholy Grail. So at the moment, Zig's going to be doing quite a bit more damage than Lux. So that's something that the junglers for both teams really going to need to watch out for and going to try and really take advantage of.
Well, for the rest of the match, though, 11 minutes in right here, and Joska still pushing his advantage in this top lane, zoning out Patchface, and man, that's a scary Shyvana.
It is really, and oh, watch out!
Oh man, Tibbers drops down in the bot lane, though. Tuka gets taken very low, forced to flash away. There's the Ricochet, though, that take him out, and now Scourge in big trouble right here. Turkey nets another stun, and there's a double kill for Ant Soldier.
Yeah, so this is the problem now for Sudden Burst Gaming. They've got a really snowbally bot lane in front of them, and they really have no way to counter it at all because anyone who goes down there is just going to get absolutely destroyed. Really, like, you know, in Lux, even though she's got barrier and the shield, she's not going to be able to stand up to an Annie.
Oh, what's Jono doing here? He's popped the Ragnarok. He's going to chase Nujabes right here. Oh, he's big trouble as the tower shot takes him out. Nice satchel pushes Stealth away. Stealth has the ultimate, though. Will he take the final spark to kill Jono right here? The first global miss as that one's coming out of Tuka. Final spark, going to whiff as well, so Jono's out safe. Oh, the return. Oh, man, the return right there on Tuka's ultimate almost killed him.
I guess he wasn't really expecting that one, but it was alright.
Oh man, that's a very dead mid laner right there. Nice catch from Turkey. Pempty picks it up there. That's another kill in the favor of SYF. This is a huge snowball building.
Yeah, nice rotation coming out from SYF. They've just taken the bot tower, and now they've rotated to the mid tower. Going to pick up that kill in the mid then, and now looking to take that mid tower as well. So that's really, that's really strong for them at the moment. If they can pick up this tower, Sunburst Gaming are going to be put even further behind.
Well, they're going to use that creep wave for as long as they have it. Tower already taken to about half health, so pretty good push right there from SYF, and they're going to stick to it. Ant Soldier, a little bit low on mana, but he's not too worried about it. He's got that spell shield, so of course that'll help him out a little bit when the fight breaks out. Will they be able to pick up this tower, though?
Well, Stealth coming in, he doesn't have his ultimate just yet, so they may be able to pick it up off this wave if they're quick. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to grab it, though.
Well, Pempty puts out the satchel. Hook just falling short there onto Turkey. Don't know if he would have engaged on it anyway, but Kha'Zix's going to be picking up his blue buff right here. No, swapping it over there to Stealth. Probably the better choice. Yeah.
So looking at Josh's build, he's actually gone for a tanky kind of build, which is quite interesting considering he is actually fairly fed. So, I'd probably expect him to look for that Blade of the Ruin King if he does want to take on the Mundo in the top lane. Maybe if he decides to go more for a team fight, he'll look to pick up something like a Spirit Visage, and that'll kind of help him against the Lux.
Yeah, and he's going to need something like that Spirit Visage. Maybe Banshee's Veil as well, because obviously Lux has had probably the easiest lane in the game here for Sudden Burst, so she's going to be doing alright. Patchface going to be popping his ultimate in this top lane. Joska finally gets that tower as well, so he's been working that one down for a while. Question is, what's Kha'Zix going to be doing here? Trying to take his red buff. Ooh, Jono making his way around as well. I don't know if they're going to go for that one. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, Score going to take a bunch of damage, gets taken out. Top lane as well, Joska jumping in. He didn't expect. Kha'Zix around the side. Big damage coming down onto an isolated dragon, and he gets taken out.
Yeah, Nujay is playing part of the Dragon Slayer right there, and he really needed to pick up a kill there. So now he may be able to sort of get back into the game, but as we say, you know, he is still so far behind, and he's very, very squishy, so he does need to be very careful of this entire SYF team. All of them are pretty much going to be able to take him on 1v1, so he needs to really pick his battles here.
Yeah, well, we'll see if that's the case. SYF, with a good rotation here to the bottom lane, going to be pushing out this next tower. Of course, it's so early as well. Sudden Burst can't even push for that Baron. Oh, that's not good. Disconnect there for New Jabes. Pause coming out.
So generally, we do see a couple of pauses coming out from any really Oceanic game region, so this is not a surprise to us just yet.
Yeah, of course, we've all seen the Pausenetic array pausing multiple times throughout the game. They seem to always have connection issues here.
Yeah, so it looks like Joska going for the tanky kind of build now. Instead of deciding to go for that Blade of the Room King, so he is probably going to be looking to roam into the team fights rather than sit up in the top lane and split push, which is actually a good idea, I believe, because Patchface has picked up that teleport, and he really would be able to split push a little bit better than Joska. Because of that, he would be able to get into the team fights a little bit easier.
And so overall here as well, obviously, it's 12-2 in SYF with a pretty big lead, but, you know, how did this one snowball so out of control? It's only 14 minutes in. This is pretty big by SYF. I mean, they're a good team, but we don't usually see this kind of quick-paced game out of them.
Yeah, I think that level 1, really, that invade from SBG really put SBG on the back foot and maybe made them feel a little bit more cautious, whereas SYF decided, you know, we're in the lead, we can kind of afford to take risks, and they did kind of take a couple of risks, especially in the bot lane, fighting so early, but it did work out for them, and really that snowballed them into the lead here.
Yeah, and I guess the mind game for Sudden Burst has got to suck there, because obviously that level 1 was so unlucky with, you know, the hook going through the bush but not quite catching anyone. And I guess SYF are going to watch the VODs here, I would assume, and they're going to see how their positioning in that level 1 bush really did pull them off such a good level 1 fight. So take note of that, I guess, is all you can take out of it. And sitting at the back part of the bush potentially won them this game. That's how crucial that level 1 play was.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's quite a good point, because, you know, when you do tend to have a support player, they do look to push something into that bush before they do go in there, and, you know, if it doesn't hit, you really just think, oh yeah, there's no one in here. You might not even think, or maybe it missed. Generally, that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, and of course, it's kind of the same deal with a lot of other level 1 engages. Obviously, a common one we usually see is red team transitioning down through the bottom tri-bush to invade blue team's red buff, and the same thing applies there against a hook champion like Thresh or Blitzcrank. You know, you sit in the corner of the tri-bush, and if they shoot it straight through the middle, it's going to miss. I mean, people don't usually shoot for the corners, it seems, and you'll see a lot of LCS players go for that kind of thing as well. But there is the resume, so we're back into this one. SYF Gaming sieging this bottom lane.
Yeah, and it might be time for supports to start picking up wards again at level 1, so they can just ward around there, because we do see a lot of invades coming out recently. Anyway, so the dragon just coming up again now, and SYF heading towards that. They're going to probably look to pick it up, and it'll probably be a free dragon here for them. Don't think Sunburst Gaming really have any idea that this is going on.
Well, there's one global for a steal. That one misses. Second comes out. That one misses. Smite got to come out of Jono. That was pretty good. I mean, it was worth the attempt.
Yeah, too early, but at this stage of the game, the ultimates aren't doing that much damage, so you may as well give it a try, and they can cool down pretty quickly, especially in the case of Lux. She's got her Athene's Unholy Grail, and also the blue buff, so the ultimate really only on like a 50-second cooldown or something.
Yeah, no problems at all, and of course, both of those were blind as well, so I mean, it was the best that Sudden Burst could try and do in a pretty bad situation, but regardless, SYF going to be pushing out this bottom lane, and again, Jono, and in the fray at the front of things, takes a bit of damage there, but tower already pretty low.
SYF really in the prime position right now. This is where their comp really excels, because, you know, Ziggs has so much area denial, and if anyone really from Sudden Burst Gaming decides to get in range, they're going to get hit in the face with an Annie ultimate.
Ooh, and I really like this in the top lane as well. Joska's playing aggressive on a patch face. It's stopping him from potentially teleporting here. And of course, Joska, you know, he can interrupt the teleport with his Dragon's Descent. So this team fight in the bottom lane, if it happens, is going to be a bit interesting. They're going to pick up the tower though.
Looks like they're going to go aggressive for a team fight with the Silver ultimate coming out, but all of SVG just backing off.
Not too sure what they were planning with that one. Seems like the communication not quite there for SYF. They burn the Silver ultimate though, and Josker in the middle lane forced to Dragon's Descent as well. Gets caught out there by Kha'Zix a little bit.
Yeah, but he's alright with that ultimate up. Obviously, he still has flash as well, so he'll probably come back up there into the top lane pretty much straight away. The rest of his team are doing pretty well here in the bottom lane. Oh, did you see that damage coming out from Silver?
Here we go. Lots of damage coming out from Pempty with that short fuse onto the tower. It's already burnt low, and Soldier is sitting at the front as well. Whoa! Final Spark hits an ant, gets caught out. Tibbers comes in, and it's a shutdown kill coming out in the favor of Score. They turn it around though, and are they going to chase it is the question. Patchface has teleported in. They got the cleaver down onto Turkey. Whoa! Turkey flashes in, and Josker gets caught as well. Going to take a lot of damage. Gets binded up here from Lux as well. They're still chasing it. Big damage onto Score. He gets taken out, and it's a 1-for-1 in the end of it.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight coming out. It took quite a while, and obviously we were talking about that Lux really being able to catch people out and completely burst them out. Obviously she's a little bit behind right now, but she did get that damage out that she needed, and Score came in through the back. Oh
man, Patchface he's chasing this one. Will he be able to pick up Pempty? Pempty already used that satchel charge, and he doesn't have flash either. There's the cleaver. Patchface is so nervous he has no vision, and he's forced to back out. That right there is the perfect examples of how wards can win you the game.
Ward's very important. We've been over it time and time again, and you know, look at the ward coverage actually coming out from SYF. You can see they've got pink wards really in key spots. There's one near the Baron, and there's also one inside the blue side jungle of SVG. So there's a couple of good area of wards now. Another one coming out onto Baron. So SYF maybe considering doing this Baron.
Yeah, and obviously those wards enabling SYF to have complete freedom of movement right here. I mean, of course, on an individual scale here, they're all quite far ahead. But with these wards, they're comfortable to move around because they have good vision. In that engage in the bot lane, though, Patchface made the right call by not chasing into that bush because he had no idea where the rest of SYF could have been. So this has been a pretty interesting example of the vision game right here. And SYF looking like they're going to group into the mid lane.
Yeah, Annie just auto-attacking the Baron a couple of times. I don't know really if she's
asserting
really keen,
dominance.
Yeah, keen to go for the Baron or what's going on there, but looks like they're heading over to it.
Might be starting this one. Could also be the bait, of course. They've got the distraction in the top lane from Josker. Josker's not really moving either. We'll see. It looks like Sudden Burst have called this one out, and they do have eyes on the Baron now as that Lucent Singularity pops over. Oh, there's a Talisman of Ascension pop from Turkey, though. They're going to chase it. Josker's there as well. Will they engage? Dragon's Descent comes down. He gets binded up instantly. So does Turkey as well. The Sivir ultimate has yet to be popped, so they aren't on the hunt. And SYF going to back out.
Yeah, SYF a couple of times now we've seen really looking for a fight, but it's not coming out just yet for them. And you feel if they do manage to pick up a fight, they'll really be able to take SVG down pretty quickly and easily. It's just really going to depend on how well SVG can kind of kite SYF while doing damage to them and maybe pick up a couple of kills.
Well, here goes the siege into the top lane though. Lucent Singularity not quite killing out those caster creeps just yet, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Sudden Burst Gaming to clear out these creep waves. But you can see Turkey in his positioning. He's sitting around the side here with Josker. I think SYF want to dive this.
Yeah, they really want to force something right now while they're so far ahead, and definitely a good idea for them. So we'll see what happens in just a second.
Ooh, Hawk just missing Ant Soldier as well right there. And you can see Sudden Burst Gaming struggling to clear out these creep waves. Every creep wave that comes in is a battle on its own right there. And Sudden Burst, they're still holding together, but we'll see for how much longer.
Yeah, and they don't really have that much wave clear compared to SYF. Obviously, SYF have got the Boomerang Blade coming out from Sivir, as well as all of Pempty's abilities on Ziggs, and even Josker has got the Flame Breath. Obviously, he's not in the top lane right now, but they've got quite a lot more wave clear right now, compared to SVG, who are really relying on Lux for their wave clear.
Well, you can see a nice rotation from Josker into the middle lane. Forces Kha'Zix down there as well. So just putting the pressure down here. The power plays coming out of SYF doing good work. Jono gets hooked. He's forced to use that Ragnarok. That was a scary moment for him. He does get out though.
And he's just going to recall now, which is going to leave SVG with a little bit of breathing room. Looks like quite a couple of the SYF guys.
Oh no, he jumps into the wall and Tibbers comes down. That is so unfortunate there for Kha'Zix.
Oh
man.
I don't really know if he would have been able to do anything even if he had got that jump off, because he would have jumped into 3 members of SYF and probably would have got anti-ulted straight off the top of that as well.
Oh man, that's one of those really awkward situations, you know, like on Riven when you try and use her little mini jumps next to a wall and it doesn't quite work. Just happened there on a big scale with Kha'Zix, but the Baron fight is here. Dragon's Descent over the wall. Stealth forced a flash as well to get out of this one. The rest of the team still content to do this Baron. And Soldier just clearing out these wards. A nice ultimate coming out there from Tuka. Final spark comes through. Jono almost gets taken out. The Baron does get picked up by Jono though. Juska's on the run in a 1v3 situation. Nice satchel charge, going to buy him some time. And no, he's turning it around, jumping back into the fray right here. Is this the right move though? Patchface going to do a bit of damage. Joska backs out, and it's a Baron pickup by SYF Gaming.
Yeah, Baron secured now for SYF, so they're going to be very, very strong. Not to say they weren't strong before, but now they're going to be really pretty much free to do whatever they want. They'll be able to tower dive. Obviously, they've got Joska on Shyvana. She's picked up the Sunfire Cape, so she's going to be getting a lot of tanky stats off that, and also off Dragon's Descent. When she uses that, she does get quite a lot of extra tanky stats off that too. So, you know, she'll be able to tower dive and not really take a whole lot of damage off that. So she can probably lead the charge here for SYF into the late game.
And SYF now with an 11,000 gold lead. That's huge. And they've really impressed with their play here. Their team play has been excellent from the get-go with that level 1 invade, with the camp there behind that red buff for the quick kill onto Kha'Zix as well. They've played this game perfectly.
And now they're going to be looking to pick up a mid tower as well. So really, you know, their rotations have been strong and their laning has been strong. Level 1 was strong. So as you did say, they have been playing it pretty much perfectly. And this is what we like to see, because SYF are one of those teams that are looking pretty strong, and they're going to be looking for one of those spots into the Riot qualifier. So if they continue with this form, they should be able to pick one up.
Yeah, and I really feel that SYF fit into that category of a team that has so much potential to do well. They just need the results right here, and they're proving it here at CG Autumn. It's what they want to do. There was a scary hook there coming out onto Turkey. It's not going to be enough. He gets flayed back in. He is holding onto that stun, and he does have Tibbers if they want to fight this one. SYF playing this one carefully. There's the flash from Turkey. Finds the stun onto Stealth. Dragon's Descent in as well. And Pempty getting a nice kill there onto Score. They're going to chase this one through, though. Patchface taking so low, and Tuka gets melted. It's Kha'Zix on the run now as well. He gets to the fountain. He does survive using that leap for a bit more distance, but it's all about SYF right here. They're picking up the inhibitor, and this is surely going to be the game.
Yeah, SYF really just so far ahead right now, and that's really what's winning them the game. And they are looking for this Nexus. I don't know if they'll get it. 10 seconds on Lux and Draven.
First tower's already down, second Nexus turret to go. Stealth will be alive in a moment, and the Nexus is exposed. Joska gets hooked in. Nice little flash there from Kha'Zix, and Soldier just going to try and take him out. That'll be the Nexus, and the challenge goes to SYF. They pick themselves up the win.
Yeah, nice work there from SYF, playing pretty much a perfect game here against Sudden Burst Gaming, and they're definitely going to go into second spot, but maybe also first spot. I don't know if they'll be getting enough points quite yet off that to be heading into this first spot, but yeah, definitely second. Are going to take over SVG in that slot.
Well, big game coming out there from SYF Gaming, and we can expect even bigger things from them in the future here. Of course, that sums us up for the night, guys, for CG Autumn. On behalf of myself, Elfish Guy, and the broadcast crew at Team Down TV, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.